Hey, fantasy football fans, want to gain an advantage over the teams you play? Don't forget to check out Ken Zales' Fantasy Football Notebook on PressBoxOnline.com, presented by Chesapeake Urology Associates. And welcome back to Inside PressBox. Time now for our Photo of the Week. And as always, the Photo of the Week is brought to you by Yuengling Lager, a true American classic. Taste the quality of the 180 years of family-owned and operated tradition, brews into every single bottle. And Mitch Stringer snapped this shot at backup catcher Taylor Teagarden, one of the Orioles' unexpected heroes who earlier this week put the O's back in a tie for first place in the American League East with an 18th inning RBI single to give the team a 4-2 victory over the Mariners in Seattle. You can read more about the Orioles right now, PressBoxOnline.com. That's what Orioles magic is all about. A couple weeks ago, I was able to catch up with a good friend of mine, Milt Pappas, who had some of his own Orioles memories to share. Let's take a look and listen. I get the rare chance to thank myself for tossing it to me. Always a pleasure to run into one of my favorite Orioles, number 32, number one in your hearts, Milt Pappas. Milt, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Stan. It's good to see you, and it's good to be back in Baltimore.
You know, it's interesting, Milt, and we've talked over the years, the last 15, 18 years, we've gotten to know each other. We're not best friends or anything, but every time I see you, it hits me of how special you were in Baltimore. Is Baltimore still, 47 years after the fact you played here, still important to you?
Oh, my God, yeah. That's where I got my start, and then I thank Paul Richards. That man gave me everything, made my career. Here I was, an 18-year-old punk, right out of high school, and went right to the major leagues and came right to Baltimore, which was unheard of. My own teammates were my own worst enemies. Hey, what are you doing here, punk? I had to play 5 years in the minors. I had to play 6 years in them. What are you doing here? I said, hey, you got a bitch. I said, there's the man. Go talk to him. So what are you yelling at me for? I got nothing to do with this, But I always go back to the fact when I was here out of high school, wondering when Paul was going to pitch me. I figured, well, if he's going to do it, it's going to be against Kansas City, Washington. Give the kid some confidence. So he pitches you against the Yankees. Thank you, Stan. You just stepped on my story, but that's okay. No, it was 47,000 people playing the Yankees. Mickey hit a ball off the base of the scoreboard, which I've never seen a human being hit a ball that hard and that far. And Harry Burkeen, the pitching coach, we're losing something like 7-2, and he says, Milt, you and George Zuvering go down and warm up. And I looked at Harry, I said, no. I said, Paul wouldn't do that to me, would he? He said, well, he said, he wants you to warm up. I said, okay. So I'm talking to the people in the stands, having a good time and warming up, and then Harry comes back and said, well, you're in there, Milt. And I said, oh, you got to be kidding. I almost died on the spot.
So who's the first batter you face?
Well, again, let me alluding back to the story. I went to the dugout and I tripped down the stairs. I walked out, innings over, I walked out. First pitch I threw to Gus Triandos warming up was in the screen. And he says, hey, kid, take it easy. I said, yeah, sure, it's easy for you to say. You've been here, Well, anyway, the first four guys I faced in organized baseball were Enos Slaughter, Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, and Bill Scarlin. That was my introduction to the big leagues.
How'd you do?
Mickey hit a ball, I heard it. I never saw it. It went by my ear, and I think if he would have hit it in here by my chest, he probably would have killed me. I got the next two guys out, and as they say, that's how the story goes.
Now, you started off with these grizzled veterans that were upset that a kid's getting his start, but in time, you made some good friends here in Baltimore, such as Brooks Robinson, Jim Gentile, Gus Triandos.
Well, as it progressed, those old-timers, started to leave and replenish with younger guys, like you said, Gentile and Jerry Adair, and we had Louis Aparicio come here for a while, and Gus Triandos, and we're starting to form a good team, but it just never. We could never catch the Yankees, and back in the late '50s and early '60s, there wasn't many teams or any team that I know of that could have caught the Yankees.
Let me bring it full circle to today. This is not a Milt Pappas question, but the Orioles, as you know, when you look at the win-loss records over the years, this year excluded, they're doing fairly well. But developing young pitchers has been kind of like an Achilles heel, hasn't it?
For years, Stan, that was their trademark. I mean, not only was I there, we had 4 starting pitchers that the oldest guy was 20 years old. Jack Fisher, Steve Barber, Jerry Walker, Chuck Estrada. Then we brought, we kept bringing them in, Dave McNally, Jim Palmer, on and on and on. And they were known for the young pitching staff, the young pitchers that they were all getting through the minor league systems. That's gone. And a lot of teams, unfortunately, are gone. The money is so prevalent today that they can go out and buy a pitcher. But I think more and more now are trying to go back, like the new guys in Chicago, Epstein and Hoyer. They're going back to the old days now. They're going to build it from within, which I'm glad to see.
Let me talk to you a little bit about why you're in Baltimore as this is being shown to our viewers. You're here for the 40th anniversary of the opening of Pappas Restaurant. It wasn't one of your restaurants, but you've gotten to know the Pappas family, I guess, a little bit, and the restaurant is terrific.
Yes, it is, and I'm tickled to death to come in and be a part of the 40-year anniversary, and I couldn't be happier. And of course, it brings me back to Baltimore too, and that's a big deal for me to come back because I don't like traveling anymore. But coming here is always a pleasure. Coming back here.
Well, when people see this, it'll be a week before they have a chance to come visit with you out at Pappas on Taylor Avenue for a lunch with Tom Maher, myself, and some fans. Old-fashioned ballpark food. We're looking forward to it, and you'll hear a lot more about it in town. But I got to ask you, coming back the weekend you are allows you to be out at Oriole Park at Camden Yards for Brooks Robinson's statue unveiling.
Yeah, those actually, 2 big important things, and the Pappas restaurant, of course, and then my buddy Brooksy. I can't say enough about the man. I mean, not only is we've become very, very, very good friends, but who wouldn't want Brooks Robinson behind him fielding ground balls, and then have Aparicio next to him too. I mean, being a pitcher, you had to be crazy to pitch up high. So I kept everything down, let them earn their money, hit the ball that way, and just a fantastic human being. His wife Connie are just super people, and I'm glad I had the pleasure to play with Brooksy.
All right, Milt Pappas. There's going to be more on Milt Pappas on our website, PressBoxOnline.com. I almost forgot. We'll be back with more right after this. Inside PressBox is presented by Friedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Friedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs.